Okay, folks. Happy whatever the hell day this is. Tuesday. Tuesday, I'm being told. Welcome back. Welcome back. Well, today we're going to do some painting based on some of the stuff that we got ready the other day. Some of the stuff is out of the way. In some ways, it's more picked up than it's ever been. In some ways, it's not. This area is a little bit more chaotic than it normally is. I'm going to put some of this stuff away now, even though we're going to probably pull it out. Let's just put some of these brushes away, and then we'll get started. A lot of this stuff is over here that would normally be on the other side. And when we get more of you showing up, I'll show you what the other side is. But this is the painting table that I had from the old house. I don't know how long I've had it. 10 years, probably, something like that. Something along those lines. And, oh, is this what I think it is? No, it's not what I think it is. We'll have to get the other one. And it served me well, but when I moved over to this house, I went ahead and I got another table. Of course, I'd like to get one exactly the same. I wasn't able to because they always got to be moving the football. But this is an IKEA table that cost about $100, and it's basically indestructible. And I take care of it. And they didn't have this one anymore. So the other one I went to was also an IKEA table, but you can crank it up and down. It's a little fancier. You can crank it way up. Right now this is 36 inches. It can go up to like 4 feet or something like that. So, which I forgot about. I guess that probably would be good for playing the game. But I have the other area set up with the battlefield for the test game for the Face of Battle. And people always ask me, hey, what rule set you using? I said, well, I'm using the Face of Battle, but if there's something in there that doesn't jive, then I'll be making my own modifications. You know, the rules are out of print anyway, so who gives a shit? But it's just Face of Battle right now. It's not modified Face of Battle. I'm sure at some point there's going to be some modifications, and you purists will be like, we can't really call it Face of Battle if you modified it like 1 iota. So, anyhow, we already have a name for it when it comes to that. But, so we're going to, we can take a look at that when more people come online. I'd hate to do that now with nobody online. That's kind of a waste. And, yeah, it's a little early for a weeknight, but I'm like, well, let's get this done. Let's get her done. So, we're going to take a look at the stuff that we primed these Soviets, and we have these Germans remaining to do the new basing on. So that is what we're going to do. I don't know how far along we will get, but we will go as far as we can go. And we won't go any farther than that. Mr. Woman Slayer, you plan on being on here for a while? Because I have the battlefield set up on the other side. I really don't want to get into that because it's just you. I mean, I do want to get into it. I just don't want to get into it right this second. And then I can also talk about the issues, the unforeseen problems that I run into in setting that up. Not really an unforeseen problem, but there's lots of wrinkles. And the main wrinkle is, I've got to... So the good news is this other table is 2 foot by 4 feet, which is like, oh, that's pretty small. But for what I've got planned to initially get comfortable with these rules, because I don't want to present these rules to other people, and I'm going to struggle with getting through just the basic stuff. We're going to encounter things that we've never seen before, I'm sure, and that's going to bog the game down somewhat. But I don't want it to be every single last thing. It has been almost 20 years to the day since the last time I played them, and they're not complicated. There's a lot of noise in the rules. And what I mean by that is, they're this thick, but you only need like this top part. and it covers everything. So I need to go through there and sort that. And I did go through and make these the other day because I thought I was going to get a chance to play it on Sunday, and I just didn't have it in me. I'm exhausted. My day job is way too exhausting. Peanut Gallery fills up for the big reel. Yeah, we should have 3 or 4 of you usual guys. As long as we get 3 people, I'll do it. So we made these chits. I know I've talked about these before. I'll have you guys take a look at them. And I'm just basically doing this to hang out with you guys. So if I finish these guys or work on them at all tonight, I don't really give a shit. Okay? We don't need these for the first scenario. But I did make these. And this is when I realized I'm getting blind really fast. Right now I've got my contacts out, so I've got these, I call them drunk spectacles, because if I go outside and just move the car, I feel like I've had 10 pints. So I'm not used to wearing glasses. The readers don't bother me because they're thin, but these things, even with them being reduced, they're pretty thick. But anyways, I had to put these together, and this is what I was talking about. Ooh, this one may need to be replaced. Each one of these is a token that has the name of a character that, these are all the characters in the other game. So this, for instance, is Engelman. Okay, so the way it works is you put these in, and I couldn't find this. I did a deep dive for this. There's two chits for everybody. Here's Crawford, here's Nemac, and I really didn't have the different color. I didn't have the different color permanent markers other than blue and black. So the names are both for the Allies and for the Americans in this case, and the Germans are both in the same color font. Doesn't really matter. It just makes you be able to notice them faster. But every character has 2 of these. Okay. In addition, the junior leaders will have a token. I decided to do it in blue, depending on their rank. In this case, the junior leaders are basically squad leader and assistant squad leader. They have one that I went ahead and did it in blue, and I put an L on it because that's what the game calls this, a leadership chit. So when you pull Engelman out, right, when this one comes out, obviously you play this one. He does his action, and then you put it away, and then you eventually go through all these. If somebody gets killed before their chip comes out or both of their chip comes out, shit happens, That's just how it is. So if one of these comes out, the leadership chit, this particular leader is the one that can activate somebody within their leadership area, which is, for these guys, it's somewhere around 2 to 4 inches away. They've got to be in line of sight, basically somebody that's there with them. And one of those other guys, not themselves, so this is, for instance, this is Anderson. This is the American squad leader in this situation. Anderson can activate somebody within 2 to 4 inches of himself. They don't have to roll for anything. They just take another turn. Okay? So technically, if they don't get killed, that character could get 3 actions. Okay? They technically could get 4 actions if the other leader, who happens to be Young, the assistant squad leader, if Young gives that same person an order. So they technically could have 4 orders. It's not likely to happen. It's more likely for them to have 3 or, get killed. Now, when you start getting into leaders that are really good, they might actually get 2 of these tokens per leader. They got to be really badasses, though. But anyways, that's how it works. When you get through all of them, obviously if the leadership token for Anderson comes and Anderson's killed before his leadership token, guess what? It's out of play, and you don't have to put it back in the bag. That's all the tokens that we have here, with the exception of the vehicle tokens. There's actually 10 of these. These happen to say Allied Vehicle on them. So when you pull one of these Allied Vehicle tokens, one of the Allied vehicles gets an impulse. There's 10 of them. And like I said, you don't know what order they're going to come in. I mean, you could pull a character out. You could pull, Langer out. And then the next time you pull one out, Langer comes out again. And then Langer's not going to do anything unless he gets activated by one of his squad leaders or so forth. He's basically dead in the water. So that's basically the gist. I went ahead and made these because this is for the little introductory scenario. I may have made it too large, but it is just one U.S. squad attacking a couple little. I think there's 6 Germans. So there's like 12 Americans and 6 Germans, or 5 Germans, or something like that. Anyways, just a little introductory scenario, just so I can familiarize myself with the ins and outs of it. Unfortunately, this game does require you to put tokens on the field. The good news, markers, for being wounded or having to, reload or something like that. Fortunately, they're fairly attractive. So, that's a plus. But it is something that that they will be on the battlefield for that. So I did that, and I gotta read through the rules and take notes just to familiarize myself. Sniper, you can have a sniper character. There isn't one in this one because he's not painted yet. If somehow I get it painted, I probably will put a sniper in that scenario. I'll remove somebody and put a sniper in there. Sniper, you basically can't hold any of your tokens. You have to play them when it gets pulled. Except the sniper can actually hold his, and then he can play it in place of somebody that gets pulled. It's a special rule. I happened to see that in the rules. I just glanced them. But there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of rules there that are just really obscure situations. Like there's a lot of rules on running somebody over or something like that. Well, if you don't have a vehicle on the board that's moving, you don't have to do that. Like I'm probably going to pull those vehicles out. The vehicle tokens, I got a half track on there. We're not going to use it in the first scenario. I'm like, let's pace ourselves. Okay, so we got these krauts here. And let's call them what they are, krauts. And we're going to start with, I believe this is Langer. I'm pretty sure that's who it is. I should know. I named him, and that's why you give him a name instead of a number. You're like, that looks like a 33, soldier number 33. No, you just give a guy that get a guy that looks like a certain guy, or gives you some kind of an inspiration for that. Okay, we're going to need Wasser. I don't care if it's dirty or not. Dirty ass water. And the chocolate brown. I can tell you this, I'm not going to play that until a weekend because the first turn is going to take a while. It's going to take a while. And I got to look out, okay, when you fire at somebody, what do you do? And I'm probably not going to play it with real people other than myself, certainly until it gets cool. So we're not looking until October. But we're going to have to take it really slow because every time I'm like, man, my workload is really busy. It keeps getting busier. For those of you that just joined us, let me know if you're my regulars and you want to see the battlefield over there. Once we get about 3 or 4 active people, we'll turn the video around and you guys can take a look at it. As I always like to say, it looks better in person than it does on the video. It really does. Even as good as the lighting is here, which I have superb lighting. I'm fortunate that the previous owner of this home had a Woody for LEDs. And that is just something that you guys should be able to benefit from. But this area is good for me to try stuff out live with you guys. Multiple people, you don't want to play there. You want to play on somewhere where you can move around it a little bit better. I don't want a bunch of people standing around a table in my little nook here anyways. As much as I really wanted to set up a setup with the bricks, this one actually does not include the bricks because yeah, I don't want to tackle too much on at once. We're doing the trees. I was able to figure out how to do the trees to where they look. I'm pretty happy with how they look on the battlefield. Again, this is all driven by those wonderful people in Wargame magazines in the UK that put their beautiful scenarios up. And I'm sitting here going, this is like, why can't we have this in America? Well, you can. You just have to do it yourself. And of course, one of the things towards filming that in the future later on this year is going to be I'm going to have to go down the rabbit hole and figure out how to use a second camera because we're going to use the computer as one of them, but then I'm going to need another camera, and hopefully it's not too much trouble. Why are you mowing the lawn now, man? You've had all fucking day long while I was at work to mow the lawn. Such inconsiderate stuff. So, Ulf, have you been taking? I understand you guys are like starting a bunch of riots over there in the UK and stuff like that. You got the dream. They're going to send the dream police after you guys. I know they always do stuff like that. It's probably some isolated pocket. You read it in the news and it sounds like the UK is all up in arms, and you've probably never even seen it. Unless you live in some huge metropolis. Just like, people are getting killed. Oh, you hear that? That somebody just got killed in Chicago. But that doesn't happen here, Did someone say peanut gallery? Yeah, man. Bring one more person set up and we'll swing this thing around and show you guys the battlefield and what have you. Welcome back, Marcus. So yeah, we're going to start on a Friday night or a Saturday night. I don't know which one it is. And it's unlikely to be this one. I got to do quite a bit of reading. I'm burned out. I am really burned out from work. So it's just nothing but fucking problems. Belt-fed problems. It's what's the name of it? It's a fire lane of problems. Get Rick to sign up. I know what I gotta do. I gotta rub the genie. Nerd burglar, nerd burglar, nerd burglar. Rick, are you there? He's eating his cottage cheese. What is it? Cottage cheese, black olives, and onions. All in the same dish. I eat cottage cheese every day for breakfast, but it's with blueberries, not with what's the correct? Not with savory items. Well, the big debut will be when I'm playing with somebody. So, although there's probably some videos where, people get more excited about seeing some dude playing with himself than with somebody else. This guy's home. Home with the calm. Now, but we're going to focus, once we get these guys based, we're going to focus our painting on specific scenario items that I can put on the, and that table's probably going to be my play area for the foreseeable future. I've got like a bunker here, okay? So we got a bunker with a Maxim machine gun, and you got a German squad that has to, get out of their trench and come and take this, because this thing's a pain in the ass. Just little stuff like that, and just see how it plays out. I got an ATR guy, do I have two? I actually have two Soviet anti-tank rifles. I got a sniper here, stuff that works for those little scenarios that vehicles, I guess eventually I'll paint the vehicle crews. I'm not so worried about that. I'll just use pennies and write the number on a penny. If you knock out a tank, those guys can pour out of there, and they can just be represented by a penny. That's I'm not going to get bogged down in that right this second. We're going to need a smaller brush. Oh, but not one that's covered in Elmer's. Marcus, you available for a while, or you got to leave soon? Thought the wife had to work late. What's she doing home already? Well, for the game. Well, for the games night, we played a game about the barbarian conspiracy at Rome and Britain. So many jokes about migrant invasions. Picts loot their own cities and little boats were had. You'll be around until 7:30. Okay, perfect. Well, we'll do. If nobody comes on at 7 o'clock, we'll flip this thing around. Okay. Or we'll do it sooner than that. Ulf, you are the notorious time manager. You're the time bandit. So if I forget, let me know when 7 o'clock is. You're real good at that. That's your day job is English Siri. I wouldn't know that. I got a Samsung. Oh, wife's here. Let me go say yoo-hoo, and then I'll be right back. Okay, well that took longer than expected. Nobody else? Who's the third mystery person? Maybe in 10 minutes we'll do it. Somebody just have to play catch up. Anyhow, get this over here. So yeah, there's a lot left to do. We got to iron out those details, and I thought I was going to get to it Sunday, but it just didn't happen. It just worn out. But you guys will get to see it before the real life people do. So if you're not watching us, because it hasn't happened yet. But more than likely, see, I would normally say we do it on Saturday morning or a morning, but it's going to get loud. And I don't, it's going to be louder than a normal game. Now, what I used to do way back when was I used to do poker chips. And poker chips are loud as shit. But see, this is a good shuffle. If you make these out of cards, you can't shuffle these well enough. Better than, and then you draw one out. And then you're like, hey, it's Calvin. Calvin gets to do his turn. And when he's done, you go through there. I could pull Calvin again. Nope. It's the German leader, Niemak. So, Niemak. Anyways, I don't know what's going to happen. But we do have kind of a little scenario there. I don't have any of the bricks. As much as I wanted to put the bricks in there, we'll do a city fight the next one. And that's another thing is I've got those those Panther bunkers. The Panther turret that's just sitting in the middle of the street. We can do that with some of the more built up area stuff. Of course, I haven't painted the Panther turret, but there's a reason to do that. Just be prepared that when I do the game live, it's probably going to move a lot slower than I intend it to, because I'm going to have to figure shit out. So, but it should be interesting, I would think. Oh, one other thing. Yeah, well, the thing is, here's the thing. If you're not in a hurry, it's going to move slow enough that you guys can say, hey, how about the next guy? Have him do this with him. And we can do that. There's a whole point is to try, not to play stupid, but to try things like, hey, I wonder what happens if I try to do this, just to see what the effects are. I honestly don't know. I don't remember. I know that I tried to play this. I tried to play this game for not the first time, but the first time with more than one other person at a convention, and the scenario was too big, and I was playing with people that weren't necessarily committed to the game, because somebody will be like, they'll always ask, hey, what rules are you using? And when I tell them, I said, oh, I tried those rules and they're too complicated. I said, well, dude, that's what I like, So if you don't like the complicated rules, then you don't play them. I'm not going to play I'm not Flames of War. I'm not going to play Flames of War either. But I'm not going to play Bolt Action. It's not worth my time. That's like wanting a electronic game, and instead of buying a PlayStation 5, you end up buying a Speak and Spell. Remember those things? What the hell are you doing with a Speak and Spell? It's so basic. Well, that's Flames of War. That's bolt action. And there's some people that are always perpetually looking for that set of rules. They're always changing rules. You know, I remember on the DBA site, there's a guy on there. He's still on there. I don't know if it's a guy. I'm going to say it's a guy. Anyways, he's always coming up with suggestions like, oh, what if we do this with the rules? What if we do this? I think the guy's never played a set of fucking rules. You know? They just want to change shit without playing it. Of course, you can't tell what it is. He uses three. You can't tell who exactly it is. He's hiding with three initials. I suspect he's in England, but you never know. And then some people that play games are just in, I swear, for the arguments. That's all they do is just the back and forth banter, and like, I'm not interested in arguing with something. You don't like the color yellow? Don't paint anything in yellow. I don't care. I won't tell you what to do, so don't tell me what to do. As the Frenchman says, mind your own business. This is Vila. Spelled wheelie. And I was missing two nameplates. I printed those out. So we got Vila and we got and we have, technically it's Verth with a W. Verth. So we'll be able to stick those on the nameplates when we get around to them. But I had done some group shots with the with the bricks and the buildings, and they, you guys saw them. They look really good. But I hadn't done the trees with the sprinkles underneath the trees, and I wasn't sure that was going to turn out well. So I used these sprinkles when I bought my original sprinkles in 2003. The first thing I used them for was my first DBA army, the static grass. I decided to buy a 6-pack from Scenic Express. They come in things like this. That Scenic Express one that I use, it's actually the only color I've used of them, is this one. And I still have some left. And it's called Farm Pasture Blend. Well, the other 5 I've never used. One of them is super bright, like a golf course. This one's kind of one of the darker ones, Forest Floor Blend. And I looked at all of them, and this one seemed like it's the best one for it. So this is what I'm going to use this is what I've used to sprinkle underneath the trees. And it's, I'm going to lose some of it. But, when you pull the trees off, you scoop this up and reuse it again, Well, let's finish this guy up, and then we'll turn this shit around. How about that? We've waited long enough for these slackers that don't show up here. They'll be on right after we stop. We turn it back around. I'll be like, hey, well, I guess you'll just have to go back and watch the video. It's always the first coat that takes the longest. This one takes a lot longer than any of the dry brushing ones I do afterwards. You got to get it everywhere. You need to cover everything with it. Okay, let's do it. As the saying goes, fuck it, we'll do it live. All right. Let me get my glasses so I can find the other side of the table. All right. Hopefully this isn't too tight, because this one clamp is super tight on here. All right, so I've got this arm that is in between both parts of the table. This is the other side, including the all the books and stuff. And this one's unfortunately a little upside down because we need places to put this stuff on it. But this is where all my books are and all the project. I think I've done a video on what it is. This is where we had to hide some of these things in here because they're like in the way and stuff like that. Here's the old case that I have sitting on the side that my 15mm figures used to be. It's a Birkby by IKEA that they don't make anymore. I'm not sure where I'm going to put it. I'm thinking of putting it over here on this wall, but I'm not so sure. Window that goes to the outside, which that light is actually not very helpful because if I shoot here, I'm going into the light. And this is the other side. Let's tilt this. Let's move this over. And tilt it down. Come on. You can do it. Okay. That's why I screw it on every time I put it on. Okay. And let's tilt it this way. This is a pretty good mounting actually, but I have it screwed down pretty tight. Let's see, do I have to move the... You guys hear me okay with the microphone, or I need to move the microphone back over to this side? But anyways, let's get one of these lights over here. Move it over. And this is the battlefield. Unfortunately, this is actually a 2-foot by 4-foot table. Get this out of the way here. And look, hey, we got something for Mitch to roll in. Now he'd miss it entirely. It'd end up on the floor. But here we have the trees. Oh, looks like I bumped them with something. Let's pull them out. So if you have an area that you want trees to go in, you grab some washers, like these, and put them underneath them. The fact that they have holes doesn't really matter, because if you put a tree here, you can't really put one in the center. It's in its way. So it doesn't really matter that it has a hole in it. Until I actually thought about it and tried putting them together, it dawned on me. So there's 3 or 4 of them here, or 2, 3. There's 3. So you want the edges of the trees to be defined by something. So that's where these sprinkles come in. And then if you need to move a particular guy in there, he could stay in there. Actually, these guys are magnetized, so they stay in place pretty good too. And then you could put the bushes back over. You can put the trees over them. And you don't have that stupid base, which it topples over anyway. So why look at that dumb base? So this is a Tony original. I'm taking credit for this one. This is my brainstorming over 20 years over it, and so far it's worked pretty good. The only bad thing I have about it is it gets a little finicky sometimes. The only bad thing about it is I can't use the felt. I bought a whole bunch of felt to make my own things, and it's too thick. It's not going to work. All right, put the big ones first. Okay, well, this is just for looks, so you can also not put that there and put it over here. Same situation. I didn't have any problems the other day. Must be all the magnetic field by the computer. Anyhow, so that's how that works. This, of course, is the 2mm MDF. Got some pieces of wood here that we threw on there because it looks better with that stuff on there. And this is actually the first building I was painting up and didn't finish it. Figured we'll do this before we do a built-up area. But I'd like to have some other sprinkles and say some lighter colors, because I'd put them here a little bit around the outside. They don't mean anything, it's just for ambiance. Okay? And then of course here, let's see how much we can tilt this without falling over. This is where we got the start side of the Americans. We safe there? Okay. So we got our American squad split in two. These, I decided to pull them out. I made these 20 years ago. This is just scouring pads you can get at Home Depot, and they normally come in blue or black. The black ones are better because then you don't have to worry about being some hidden blue color in there. But I believe I spray painted these, and while it was still wet, I put the Woodland Scenic sprinkles on it. And they work pretty good. Now, somebody would say, that's a pretty thin hedgerow, but, you know, hey, I made these 20 years ago. The base isn't great looking, but it'll work. If I make more, I'll make them thicker, maybe twice as thick or so. So we've got that going on, and the road. Don't fall down on the job. So this is the little scenario that we've got, you know. So we've got a half track here, which is just really for effect right now. I'm not going to throw the half track in the very first time, but and then we've got some place where the Jerrys are holed up. We got an Opal. Boy, I'm talking with my hands today. We got an Opal Blitz that's over there, and this other civilian vehicle that they commandeered just for looks. It's there. And that's it. We got a couple. We got three guys. We got a junior leader, a MG42, and the assistant. And over here we got a couple of riflemen with another junior leader. So it's 6 Germans versus 12 Americans. Just see what happens. So we'll get to see how the movement, you know, trying to move through these things and so forth. So, you know, the logical progression for the Americans would be, let's get most of the board on here if we can. I probably need to practice on using 2 cameras, but we're not going to do it on this. We're not going to do it on this table. It'll have to be when we go to the garage. But the natural progression is they break in through here. They got to cross into the, you know, these guys will hop in here, create some kind of a fire base to pin that fire down while these guys zoom over here, and then we start getting into grenade range. You know, and then just leapfrog. So they can go into these woods, then they can move over there, they can move into the facility. And same thing, they can come here, either fire or try to flank this way. So just a little scenario, just to see how a couple different things. We don't have flamethrowers, no vehicles, we just have submachine, you know, we're gonna have some Thompsons, a couple, I think 1 carbine, the rest are Garands. Obviously the junior officers have 1911s as well. And the Germans have 1 MG42, and everybody else has got a rifle, except the 2 junior leaders will have MP40s. So really simple, and just see what happens. Now, one thing I did get, and I talked about this earlier, and I'm glad I got this. I think I'm glad I got this, is this thing right here. It's not a laser pointer, it's the line maker, okay? So here you go, there's your line. And you really want to see what the line is, I can do this. And then it stands out even more. If you really want to see what the line looks like, well, there you go. So if you got this squad over here that's wondering, hey, can that machine gunner see him in the house? Well, there you go. So this is really freaking handy. And the nice thing is I can't really blind you guys. And we also have another auxiliary light here that we can use if we need to. So we can really brighten this up quite a bit. Of course, then you can't see the laser line as well, but it's good enough. Now, the only catch is going to be, I'm going to need a little table to put this guy on, and you'll be able to see it. Again, we're just going to work with 1 camera. I think I'm going to I have this little white table that's movable in the office. We can put that on here and the rule book. And then we should be good to go. You know? So, yeah, I'm like, do I really want to waste $12 on this? That's pretty freaking cool. Where you can just see, okay, that's, you know, that's where that is. Okay, it's going to go through that much of the woods, that kind of thing. Should be pretty handy, you know. Can these guys shoot? You know, these guys know they're going through this set of woods. They're going to have some hindrance type stuff. So, anyhow, glad I got this. And the line's pretty darn big. You know, if you need a bigger line, get on a step stool. You know. So anyhow, pretty happy with how it looks. And let me take a photo of it and show you guys the photo. See kind of a man on the ground view, because that's the only way you're going to be able to see how these sprinkles actually work. And let's see if I can get a shot that is maybe, it's maybe descriptive of that. And you'll see this works really well for underbrush, okay? And this is just a fluke. I'm like, what am I going to use, you know? That looks pretty good. Now, eventually, I think I want to get a piece of cardboard that's really big and light blue and put it back here. So if I do any shots or anything like that, it's not like, you know, you're looking at my modem and, yeah, here's my 5G modem tower thing. And it really looks pretty good. I just never considered having stuff that I'm going to lose some of it from time to time. I vacuum the floor all the time in here anyway, so, you know, this looks pretty good. These are just woodland scenic trees with some dry brush on. The trunks have maybe only one color. They might have two, but the actual foliage has 3 or 4 of them. So, yeah, let's kill that a little bit. Yeah, so it looks pretty good. And, you know, and it photographs pretty well, which is really what I wanted to do. So you could do something like this. Oh, that doesn't help when you do the camera. And you could do a little teaser photo that looks as good as what you would normally see in a War Games magazine. So I am pretty freaking happy with that. Pretty happy. So, now all we need, and I have not seen this, okay? So this is, you guys are seeing this for the same time I am. You know? Let's say there's a Pac 40 in there. Well, that's probably a bad example. Let's say there's a Sherman here. Let's pull a Sherman out. We didn't paint all these Shermans not to use them. Let's get old Sherman out here. Oh, my American Shermans, some of my American Shermans aren't named. We'll have to fix that. Who's this? Chaplain. All right. Well, I know 76 millimeter HE isn't that effective, but let's say one of them comes over here and he's like, you know what? I've had it with these freaking cars. I've had it with these civilian cars that they use to drive around and blow things up in. So he takes a shot at one of them and destroys the mother. Let's kill that. How do you like them apples? Of course, I need to put a little bit, maybe there or something like that. Boomba! You spy an Opal Blitz. Yeah, it's an Opal. Oh, the Opal Blitz and he gets shot at? Okay. Boom! You know. That's why we did this. One for you. You get around, and you get around, and you get around. There you go. I like them apples. Bada boom, that's right. So anyhow, even with the lights on. Oh, laying down on the job. But this is only if there's an actual fire going on there. You know. That's why these work both ways. And I didn't actually plan it that way, but I'm like, if you just blow something up, you know, you just destroy something. Probably need to make smaller ones of these that aren't so epic. But if there's an actual fire, you turn the thing on. Anyhow. That was cool. All right. Yeah. This is fucking great, man. All I need is something blue to leave. Although this light gray isn't bad. So anyhow, this is what we have in store. Um, just give me some time to get my my act together. It's a lot it's a lot of work. I want it to go off well. Hey, I was able to figure out DVA. This is a piece of cake. This is these rules make sense in their percentile. So, yeah. So that's what we have planned, and hopefully get to it sooner rather than later. But we'll see. I've got to put the squad sheet together, which isn't difficult. I've put one of them. Let me show you the one that I made for the scenario, and I'll show you why I say this game isn't very complicated. And you can tell by this squad sheet. Let me see if I can find it here relatively easy. I can. I made two of these for this scenario called Purple Heart Hill. I can't find the American one. I don't know why. But here's the German one. And on here, it tells you what all the different units are. You know, the Platoon HQ, Schneider Squad, Metzler Squad, the Recon Team, Light MG Team, and on the back we got a Heavy MG Team, and the Mortar Team. And on there, you just has, you know, whether they're a leader or not, what they're equipped with, how many grenades they have, so you can mark them off as you use them, how many actions they get per turn. Basically, everybody's a 2. Oh, no, the Recon Team has a couple guys that are 3 actions per turn. Oh. And then their combat value, which is basically the number you're using all the time to roll, throw grenades, that kind of stuff, which varies anywhere between 50 to 80, and it's in tens. So we have some 50s, we have 2 80s, and some 70s. And their morale, which can go anywhere between 90 to 50. I actually got some guys that are 100. Man, that Recon Team was elite. And yeah, so that's it. And then, you know, the range on their zone of control for the leaders, their actions and their rally actions they can use. That's it. It's not that complicated. It's not that complicated. There's not that much stuff. You don't have to, you know, attributes. So this guy's got to like search for traps. No, that's not that kind of a game. It's just light role play kind of stuff. But the meat and potatoes is this. This is the meat and potatoes right here. It's all about this. What order they come out in. That is epically important, and you can't control it. So, anyhow, hopefully that was cool. Hopefully you was excited about it. Obviously, I'm more excited about it now that I took those pictures and I saw those guys up close, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's what we want to do. Suck it, War Game Soldiers and Strategy. We want a game that looks like that too. Yeah, look at this. Let me hide that. Look at that. It's freaking great, man. Love it. Love it. And the roads came out. As Barney would say, stupendous. Okay. Let's come back over here to the business end. Whee! I need to untighten this a little bit. It's a little too tight. Good Lord. There we go. On the air lamp that I can't really use because it's not really in view anymore. Okay, and then we just... Yeah, this mount is actually really good. It wasn't expensive or anything. Okay, put that back. Okay, so that's what we're going to do, and we're going to work on the other stuff in small. And by the way, that's the map that's fucked up looking. That's the one that has the damage, so it doesn't look that bad, but you know, it's still beautiful. I just wish it wasn't a damaged product. Yeah, I don't know when the game test is going to happen, but hopefully pretty soon. Let me show you some of the counters and what I mean by they don't look bad. Because normally, oh, counters, that looks like shit. Well, The guys that designed these counters actually did a pretty good job with them. One of these is my favorite one. How could you have a favorite counter? Just wait till you see it. It's cute as shit. If you roll really badly, you could have what you call a mishap. And then you roll to see what kind of a mishap you have. And the best mishap you can have is a reload. And that means you have to spend one action to take this reload counter off. And this could mean, you just reload it. You got to reload and you're fumbling with a reload. It's taking you longer than normal and it kicks you into another action. So that's why you want to keep a junior leader around, because you might use the junior leader to go ahead and get your guy to remove the reload counter from him. So when it's his turn again, he can do his thing. We could have a jam. I don't know why they decided to put a 92F Beretta on there, but I like those. I'm a big fan of them, but they don't belong in the Second World War. Counters that tell you if the gun is loaded or not. Informational counters. Malfunctions, speed counters. The black counter means they're buttoned up. If it's white, they're unbuttoned, I believe. Immobilized. Targeting counters, mainly for the mortar, stuff like that. Wound markers, fatigue. So stuff can happen to your guys. You can hesitate. You can be in a panic. You can be shaken. You can be fatigued. Broken, pinned, hesitated, panic, and fatigue. So there's a lot of different ways that, you can be. The yellow one is surrender. Yeah. Anyhow. Good stuff. To be continued. I may make the scenario smaller. Just by doing the sniper, just making it 3 Germans and 6 Americans or something like that. Just so I don't try to bite off too much in the first one. And then we can make it bigger. We can change that stuff around and what have you. A foobar. And here's the movement marker cards. So this is literally how far they can move max. They go from here and they can move all the way to here with one action, max. You start climbing over stuff and it affects it even more than that. Forest heavy, 3/4 of a move. Rubble half. Buchanan flamethrower, you move 3/4 of speed. So, and we're not going to do kneeling and prone and stuff like that in the first game. That's kind of the one thing that really bogs everything down, is changing the stances, and I don't think it adds a whole lot right off the bat. So we'll probably kick that one down the road a little bit and mess with that at a later date. Anyhow, hopefully you guys enjoyed that little. But that's how I wanted to take a picture of it, because you can't see that, from that. Now, imagine when we get an 8-foot by 8-foot table. But that's, for vehicles and stuff like that. 'Cause I don't know how far that was, but they're probably close to submachine gun range. You could certainly fire the submachine gun from almost to the that hedgerow where the guys start off in. Anyways, to be continued. To be continued. Yeah, I'm not going to put all this detail in my painting and then have a game that's just, okay, odd or even, you're dead. Come on, man. Save that for somebody else. Okay, this guy's worth. What's this guy's worth? That's his name. Don't wear it out. Yeah, we're not gonna be painting many Germans for a while. We got plenty of them, and I got them because of that scenario. It's a scenario where they're on the offense, and the Americans have 4 or 5 fire teams. They got a 60 millimeter mortar and a 30 cal machine gun and 2 half squads and the platoon a platoon lieutenant and a sergeant. What else did they have? I think that was it. But there's actually one scenario that's another scenario that's small, at least board size, in that Heroes of Omaha and Panzer Lehr that is a recon scenario, and it's actually a 2x4 board, and it's jam packed with terrain. So that's another thing that we can build towards. Got some armored cars in that one. Definitely not an environment. You know, if you're playing with a vehicle on that board, you got too close. But I have no idea what an armor piercing, what a vehicle shot on another vehicle plays like. I haven't seen it, so we'll learn that one together. We'll see the first instance of it. Because you roll for hit location and damage and stuff like that, and criticals, and this isn't World of Tanks. And the UK's got like record heat, doesn't it? You guys have record heat over there. Well, the moral of the story is if you're going to take a bunch of immigrants in, have them come from like Norway or something like that. Keep the place cool. You bring people from like hot environments, it just makes sense that they're warming the place up, don't you think? No, last time there was some Norwegian immigrants in England. Things didn't go so well. Better not to have those people come back. I think I need to change brushes for this. One of my favorite figures right here, this Worth. I don't know, the pose is just really cool on them. My favorite German figures, because I got favorite figures from every nationality. I got cool Brits and Americans and Germans and Soviets and good stuff. Schneider. Another one of these badass poses. Obergefreiter. Well, I didn't go online last night. I decided to have a movie night with the daughter. We watched The Forgotten Battle, which I didn't realize was a Netflix movie. And the cool thing is, I'd forgotten a lot of the details. Like I forgot who survived, and I didn't watch it that long ago. I just, my life didn't depend on it, so I didn't, I wasn't that vested in anybody. But she enjoyed it. Oh, I wanted to show you guys. Have you seen that movie? I found an error. I found an error in the movie. And this is just a Um, Somebody was selling a bunch of stuff on Cromwell figures on eBay. Didn't get any. I don't need anything. I got enough vehicles. I'm more tempted to like buy terrain and stuff like that, and I'm good. I need to work with the stuff that I got, these shell holes, things like that. Let me show you what I got here. You guys will get a kick out of this, maybe. So here's the beginning of the. They have a T-34-85, which I thought was a pretty good rendition of it. It's probably a real T-34-85. And notice what's wrong with the picture? I couldn't get the name of the thing off of the TV. But it's got the machine gun position in the opposite side of where the driver's hatch is. So they have the movie reel is twisted. And then a little later in the same scene, they have it corrected. So at some point they flipped the film. This is the Soviet tank, and when the British get a hold of it, they switch it because the driving position is on the wrong side. But I made my daughter stop the movie. Hey, what's the problem? Wasn't even looking for it. Got to run. Liked how you could see the Opel Blitz through the trees, that eye-level picture. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's one of those things we got to test is what happens when you take an Opel Blitz under fire, like small arms. You know, what does an Opel Blitz do? You know, what does rifle fire do to its tires? How is it, not in real life, but how is it represented in the game? And does that jive? Or if not, we'll have to make a house rule for it. You know? I'm not going to go out of my way to change anything, but if something seems really wrong, yeah, we're not going to, that will not stand. We don't have time for that. We don't have time for wrongness. We got to switch to the small one now. Well, in a couple of months, it'll be the second anniversary of me not playing any DBA. And I'm okay with that. That needed to happen for this to get off the ground. Actually, it needed to happen anyways. That was just frustrating to live in shit out of me. So, yeah, I'm okay with other people enjoying it. I'm just done, you know. Too much heavy lifting for not enough interest. And you know, something like DBA, it's important that lots of people are interested in it. Like this, I don't care if anybody plays this game. I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this for the narrative. DBA is not for the narrative. This is lights. Somebody sent me a message a couple of months ago. Say, hey, I'm just getting back in the DBA. I see you got a lot of games. When you're playing your next one, I said, oh, they're like, hey, I haven't played DBA in 20 years. I'm getting back into it. I saw your videos. When are you guys going to do another game? I'm like, well, I'm not doing another game. Where you been, pal? Where you been? I'm gonna leave all the videos up there. I don't need to take them down. We did our best faith effort to do them. All the people I played with, I showed them how to do it. Go make your own videos. Oh, it's a pain in the ass, is it? Well, maybe that's why I don't do them anymore. Actually, that's not why I'm not doing it anymore. I don't really want to play a game and not film it. I really don't. I just don't want to play a game that, has issues that continually come up, and you can't get more than a dozen players to play it at once. So. And I can't do that and this at the same time. I just kept putting this off, and off, and off, and off. And just like I'd said before, I learned a lot of skills doing DBA. And just in the last couple of years doing this stuff, I've added to the number of skills that I've done. So it's all about growing and learning new shit. This guy's got a pretty bright green shirt, but then I've seen some reenactors that have pretty bright green shirts as well. So I guess it depends on how it fades or what material you use. This is the only guy it's kind of bright like this. Okay, that's Lights. Becker. Even though they don't have that name on him. I know who he is. That Becker. Becker the Pecker. Well, the nice thing is the game board is in an area where I can leave it up there set up as long as I want. And it's not really in the way. The only catch is it can only be like 2 by 4 feet, which that's okay. I mean, it's in a temperature controlled environment. The garage is really good. It's just not good right now. Like right now, it's hundreds of degrees out there. It's particularly hot today. It's actually insulated. Normally isn't. You guys have seen my airbrush sessions. It's not that hot out there, but it is today. I wouldn't want to do an airbrush session today. But somebody probably won't like this game because it's not their cup of tea, that it moves too slow. Well, if you play video games, I'm going to use a video game comparison. You can't compare the speed that you kick ass in Diablo as you can to Baldur's Gate. They're incompatible. Baldur's Gate is very, very slow. Very, very slow. But it's a role-playing game. And this isn't that slow. But it's certainly it's closer to that. And that's fine. If it moved fast, it wouldn't have the level of detail that I would require for me to be interested enough to create stuff for this. Switch back to a little brush. We're probably going to stop when we do all the brown on these figures, this color. That seems like a reasonable place to stop. Hey Kevin, welcome back. Isn't Baldur's Gate? Let's see. Oh man, I had top chat on the whole time. It's not a live chat. Bless it. Isn't Baldur's Gate 40K? No. No, it's D&D. I would even say it's woke D&D. It's pretty woke. Like, I don't really care for playing... Rick, here we go. I don't really care for playing characters that aren't human. I just don't. I guess that makes me racist, because I only want to play humans. I don't care what color your skin is. I don't care what human tribe you come from. I don't want to play no elves or dwarves or, gnome. Remember when whatchamacallit came out? What is that? World of Warcraft. Why would you want to play a gnome? Why would you want to play somebody less badass than yourself? Like I'm not a badass, but I could whoop some gnomes to bits, So why would you want to play somebody who's like a bigger pansy than you already are? I just don't get that. Who's your hero? A bigger pansy than me. What? It just... doesn't do anything for me. I haven't played that in decades. I don't like a game where you have to team up with people to go any further. And the problem isn't the teaming up with people, it's the amount of coordination that it involves. And if there's one glitch on your internet, it's all gone out the window. That's just... No, I don't have the... I'm not interested in that. I don't remember last time I played a game where I interacted with people on a microphone. I tried to do some interacting on World of Warships, and nobody has their microphone on. Like, nobody talks at all. I'm like, well, that keeps somebody from coming in and saying, my mittens, I gotta have my mittens, I gotta have my, which that's happened to me before. True story, and that's exactly what they said. Some little 12-year-old kid that had a mitten fetish. Sounded like he was 12. Yeah, I'm not interested in playing. I'm not interested in playing non-humans, especially like a half orc. Like, the hell's wrong with you? I don't care. I don't have a problem playing females. It doesn't matter as long as they're human. I don't like. I don't care what you know. I don't care which one of the two genders you are. I'll play either one of them. I don't want to play no gnome or a dwarf or. Well, now there's a million different races now. Like half elf, quarter gnome, 16th of a troll. It's like holy shit, man. Humans can't even get along. Why are all these people like all in cahoots together? Shiny, happy people holding hands. Fuck that, I came to fight. That's the best description of a gnome I've ever heard. What's that? Yeah, why would you play somebody that's a bigger sissy than you? Be like Rick playing somebody who can cook worse than him. Like, what's the purpose in that? Man, I can't wait to stop playing this game. Why? Well, so I can feel like a badass. Like, you know? Be like Chuck Norris playing a bard. I don't know why I thought about that. I've tried to see one movie with Chuck Norris in it. I've tried. I didn't make it very far. I swear he's related to Tim Allen though. Rick, have you seen the Deadpool movie yet? Scott used to game with us. We would talk about movies. We talk about movies all the time, even though I'm not really a big movie watcher. It's just kind of something that all of us kind of do. So, there's that familiarity with it. But he always hated the plot device of time travel because he thought it was lazy. I don't think time travel's bad. I don't like the multiple universes. Like, I don't do those drugs. I've never done them. They don't make sense to me, you know. It's like scooping yourself a bowl of cottage cheese and being out of onions. You haven't seen it yet. All right. Well, when you watch it, if you plan on watching it, there's a scene with a bus. Some violence that happens on a bus. Think of me, and that's the part. If that scene had not been in the movie, it wouldn't have been worth watching. And I like the other two movies, but it's definitely the weaker of the three, without a doubt, because of the multiple universes. That's just a plot device that I just, I wish that the person that was smoking that stuff or did LSD had not been involved in the first movie that the multiple universes thing is, because I am not a fan of that ridiculousness. I was talking to my daughter about that because a friend was over here and was getting ready to watch the movie, and she said, "Well, the problem is this like it's based on comic books." I said, "Well, the problem is I never read comic books. Okay, so I'm not a comic book person." Yeah, yeah, the bus scene is fucking hilarious. Yeah, I'm not a comic book person. The only comic books I have, I don't know how I got them, and they were a hand me down from somebody else, and it was like a couple of issues of Sergeant Rock, and a couple issues of the Transformers or something like that. I got them when I was like 12, 13, 14 years old, way back then. Like I don't see much point in them. I didn't think any of the art was really any good. It's grainy looking. The you'll have a line on a character like this, like here's the end of his head, like of his hair, but then there's brown that goes past that line, like they painted with watercolors. I just don't get, I don't get comic books. You know, I expect artists to be painting better than me. If they're not, then I'm like, get out of here. Get, you know, I don't watch cartoons that are poorly done. I just, not a fan. Well, they're supposed to look that way. Oh, so they made them look like shit on purpose. Got it. Sorry, I'm not buying the Picasso excuse. You know the Picasso excuse. You're like, oh, it was a really brilliant artist, but he decided to paint that way. Well, it's like saying, you know, I can make it, I gotta go take a dump and I can make it to the bathroom, but fuck it, I'll show the world. I'll just crap my pants right here. I can ship my pants right here. The Picasso excuse. Ain't buying it. Ain't buying it, commie. Yeah, I do like movies that have over the top comical violence. I do. You know, the second movie, that part where they was assembling the team and they all met their ends in really gory ways was hilarious. Really, really funny. Rick, did you ever see Hardcore Henry? That might still be on Netflix. I thought it was hilarious. Like anything you've ever done in a first-person shooter or video game, that you get to see what it looks like on film. It's pretty freaking funny. Starts really slow, like, what is this foreign movie, you know? But again, it depends what you like, you know? You might see a movie that everybody thinks is the greatest movie, and then you go and watch it and you're like, really? This piece of crap? Like, I couldn't tell you how many. I saw a movie within the last 2 weeks, that was 3 weeks, that everyone had spoken highly of. And I watched it. I suffered through it. It's a black and white movie, and it had zero merit. Maybe I waited too long to watch it, you know, but I just, you know, I'm never going to get that back. Yeah, it's on, I bet it's on Netflix. I bet it's on Netflix. It's a unique, I like movies that are unique, that are done uniquely. That's a uniquely done movie. Um, Memento is a uniquely done movie. Um, The Devil's Double is a uniquely done movie. Probably less unique than those other two. But, you know, it's just a different spin on the formula, you know? This is the Sniper, which is Langeman? I believe it's Langeman. Rick, you want to be one of these krauts? Should make you a cook. I should get a German cook and his name is Kevin. Of course, it'd be the original spelling with the umlaut over the O. I cook nothing. I don't have a cook though. Some guy with a Mauser and a bib. Yes. You won't be a Nazi. You'll just be some guy that got drafted. You know, not going to make people, not putting people in the SS. I'll have to see. I'll have to get somebody that looks like a cook. That's the irony. The irony of that. I think I do have a scenario that has cooks. Making you a cook to be ultimate irony. Yeah, there you go. Do you like German food? There's a little German bar type place in Tampa that we try to go to every time we go to, because every time we go into that area, and it's just a pub bar place. They got like a zillion different kind of beers, and you know, they got traditional German food and stuff like that there. When we went to the concert last month, we stopped in there, and my daughter, I was so proud of her. She ate like traditional freaking German food. I'm like, where the hell did you learn how to eat this stuff? Sauerbraten with cabbage and something else. The little potato pancake or something like that. Do I have a Conrad? Hold on a second. Is that a legitimate German last name? I don't think I have a Conrad. If that's a legitimate German last name. Well, you want to be in here too? You're an engineer, right? Maybe we can make you the guy with a flamethrower. I like them apples. Let's see. Conrad's surname. Conrad's surname origin. A variant of the name Conrad, which comes from the Proto-Germanic words quoni, meaning daring, experienced. Yeah, but is it a last name? Is it a surname? Yeah, we could work that. Why, are you a Conrad or something? We could certainly have a... Oh, we don't do first names for those. We only do last names. Brownell, you're definitely British. That's a British last name if I've ever heard one. Nothing, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we need Brits too. No, first names, only the Maquis have first names. I mean, these guys have first names also, but we don't know what they are. It's, you know, that just muddies the water. Weren't you an engineer? I don't mean, you know, Casey Jones engineer. Now, we got to paint Hoffman first. We may make an exception about painting Germans with him. We're going to paint these Soviets, then we'll do Hoffman. Just another rifle dude. Just another rifleman. Bruno. Well, why do you got to be German? You don't have to be a bad guy. Let Rick be the bad guy. He's just a bad cook. He just makes those cake donuts. Man, those things suck. I did see that video on how you eat them. That's got to be better than not eating them that way, because they're like dry as shit. You know, it's like putting something in and just soaks every bit of moisture out of your mouth. Like eating chalk. There's some scenario I have already made. I mean, you make your own damn scenario, and that has cooks in it. You can have a badass cook. Remember Steven Seagal in that movie with the battleship? He was the cook in that movie. What was that? Under Siege? Under Siege? Something like that. Something Siege. Sounds right. Give yourself cotton mouth eating those things. Exactly. I'd rather not eat them at all if I didn't submerge them in milk. The only donuts worth a damn are the Krispy Kreme glazed. But if I have one donut, I gotta have 20. I mean, it triggers something that's just like sugar. I mean, I just never have sugar. It's like so. I never eat donuts. The idea that somebody would eat something for breakfast that would put them back to sleep just doesn't make any sense. You know, like it doesn't make sense to me to have donuts for breakfast. You need the stuff that wakes you up for breakfast, like black coffee and cocaine. That's a breakfast you can get stuff done with. But just like a donut and like sugary coffee, you'd be you'd be covered in white powder and like thrown over. You roll back over, fall back asleep. You know. Kind of glad you don't have Krispy Kreme near me. I'd be guest starring on my 600th life. Yeah. Yeah. So let's see. What would be the opposite of Krispy Kreme? What would be a restaurant or a store you would go to if you were like a health nut? What would the opposite of that be? Whole Foods? I don't know. Whole Foods is. Everybody was raving about Whole Foods until we got one. And I walked in there. I've never. There's some ugly folks in there. I'm just gonna say it like it is. There's some granola folks in there. Man, I'm surprised they can afford to. I can't afford to shop there. You ever feel like you don't look good? Go to a Whole Foods. That'll cheer you right up. At least try, man, I mean, we're not all superstars, but at least do the best you can with what God gave you, you know? I don't know, maybe it's just mine in the college town that I used to live in. I'm still 15 minutes from it. It's basically the same damn town. So, yeah, I never think about eating a donut. I just never do. Rick, you have a breakfast place? It's a chain, so I'd imagine you probably have one. Actually, I'm gonna look it up, and then I'm gonna tell you where you should go, and then I can tell you what you should eat there. I'll tell you what you should put in your mouth when you go to that place. Let's see. Let's see if Omaha has one. Is it Omaha? Yeah. Nope, you're fucked. Central Florida, East Florida, North Florida, South Florida, West Florida, and then Tennessee. You're up a creek. Oh well, never mind. I won't tell you. Did they ever put a heart attack grill in Florida? I don't think so. I've never heard of it. Let's see. I wish they'd never put a. What's the place that I hate that I won't eat at? Well, there's lots of places I won't eat at, but um, Golden Corral. I'd rather eat egg salad sandwiches out of a vending machine than eat at freaking Golden Corral. Heart attack grill. Heart attack grill. Diners don hospital gowns before indulging in heart attack inducing fare, such as the bypass burger. That just doesn't sound good. Looks like they have one in Vegas. Heart attack grill. Oh, this doesn't look very good. Coronary dog, double bypass burger, triple bypass burger, quadruple bypass burger. I don't eat stuff like that. I don't eat stuff like that. Chili. I'm not eating chili. Cash only. No thanks. Septuple bypass burger. What the hell? Yeah, I need to do a background check on somebody if they make chili. I gotta find out who the hell's doing it. Octuple an octuple bypass burger is $35.20. You can add 40 bacon slices, but it's probably overcooked bacon. I don't like my bacon, like over 350 pounds you eat free? Un- Unlimited bypass, single bypass burger. Purchase drink with each burger. Weigh with nurse before ordering. No takeout or to go orders. Is this for real? Well, no wonder they have to charge $13.47 for a single burger to pay for somebody who's getting them for free. 350 pounds. You better be 8 foot. You better be shack sized. It started in Arizona. Wow. No, that's excessive. I never really ate really like bad stuff. I just eat too much of it. That's what I got to work on. It just the amount of food that I'm eating. I don't need to eat like chili dogs and French fries. I just I don't have a problem eating a salad. It just can't be this size. It needs to be fucking this size. That's all. I like all my vegetables and salt. We all have too much salt. All of us. Everybody. They put too much salt and stuff. My favorite burger place is this place that has been. It's a mom and pop operation. It's been around since the mid '80s. I didn't find out about it until the late '80s, and of course the prices have doubled because that thing called inflation. But the nice thing about it is you order a hamburger all the way, and it comes with lettuce, tomato, onion, mayo. That's it. You don't have to like. you don't have to hold a gun to their head and say, if you put freaking ketchup on my burger, I will murder everybody in your family. You don't have to go out of your way to not get ketchup on your burger. So that's a huge plus for those of us that are ketchup haters. I've I'd throw a hamburger out the window because it had ketchup on it. I'm not. Somebody's working minimum wage and making me eat ketchup. Sorry. That's my sweet potato fries, Rick. I would rather eat cottage cheese with black olives and onions than ketchup. I'd rather eat just about anything other than ketchup. I'd rather eat liver. That's saying something. There used to be this chain. Kevin, you'll remember this because you're older than I am. Used to be a chain in the U.S. called Burger Chef. And what Burger Chef would do, if I remember correctly, is you would order a burger and they would just give it to you. And you went to the little bar and added the stuff that you wanted on it. So you didn't have to fight with somebody. You didn't have to fight. I don't want this. I don't want that. I pretty much, I don't want mustard because it's too strong of a taste on it. Although it works with little crystal burgers, but anyways, I don't want ketchup. I don't have to have mayo. I normally don't. If something comes with mayo, I'll take it like that, but I won't specifically add mayo on top of it. Like, I'm already unhealthy enough. Thank you. Yeah, I can't stand the smell of ketchup. I've literally thrown a hamburger out the window. Like, I wanted it plain, and they put all this shit on. Like, fuck you, we're gonna make you eat ketchup. You know what? I didn't eat ketchup. Blowing it out the window. I couldn't go back. I was on the interstate. Check your damn food. Anyways, Burger Chef went out of business. I don't know, early '80s, something like that. And then you had Fuddruckers, and Fuddruckers, they had one of those across the street from the Historicon at the host. I don't know if it's still there, but I went a couple of years. I would just go across the street. I'm not eating the host food. That's nasty, and I just had one big freaking meal. And somehow I survived walking across Highway 30. I said, before I ever went to Historicon, the traffic on Highway 30 is horrible. I'm like, there's a turn lane in the middle of it. Just like play Frogger. Just go to the middle. Wait, what's so difficult about that? You know? But I've noticed that people at our local game convention, remember, most gamers are about 10 years older than me, are in such poor health. Can't even walk, move. I was talking to one guy, that he's not that old. I mean, he's, 60 something, right? He's not even 70. He's like, oh, I can't drink soda. I can't drink tea. I can't do the other thing. I can't drink alcohol. I'm like, holy shit. I mean, what led to that? And he's skinny. This skinny dude. Okay, and the German Mortello. The Whopper is your favorite. You mean the Burger King? A good Whopper is good, but difficult to find these days. My experience with people that worked at Burger King recently is I don't think their parole officer knows that they're there. It is really bad. It's really bad service. Really bad. I mean, you don't need to kiss my ass, but man, don't be freaking angry. Like, dude, I didn't take the job there, you know? Yeah, so the next time we'll come back, we'll pick up the medium dry brush color. The thing that used to be really good in the 80s was that KFC used to do those chicken littles. So it was like a Crystals, but it was chicken and had mayo on it. And that's it. It just had mayo and a little chicken thing. And it was, I remember them being awesome. Workers are a fast food worry about Border Patrol. Doesn't the employer have to do a thorough background check on that? I mean, we have to do that for people that work. I mean, you got to go through, an agency that does you don't want to hire people that aren't supposed to be here. For multiple reasons. Got to worry about the migra, huh? Look out, the migra's coming. The 80 millimeter mortar. I don't care for things that are infantry weapons. Infantry weapons, not naval weapons, but infantry weapons that are done in. I would never call something a 7.5 centimeter. It's a 75 millimeter. End of story. RPO made sure they did, but he was criticized for doing too good a job. Yeah. That's funny. I know who that guy is. RPO. All right, folks. As always, thanks for stopping by. We'll see you.